An overview of foreign animal disease or FAD investigations. Emergency animal diseases consist of dangerous emerging foreign and endemic diseases that may result in far-reaching consequences and require immediate action to control and contain. Foreign animal diseases, also referred to as FADs, are serious animal diseases that have either been eradicated from or have never occurred in the United States. This video will use FADs to depict the critical activities and consequences associated with outbreaks of emergency animal diseases. A foreign animal disease or FAD can be detected through reports of a suspicious case by a private veterinarian, laboratory or animal owner, or identified during routine surveillance. Suspicious case reports are received by the state animal health officials, such as the state veterinarian, who will dispatch a trained foreign animal disease diagnostician or FADD. The diagnostician is sent to collect diagnostic samples to be sent to the laboratory, place a quarantine on the premises, and to begin an epidemiological investigation. The diagnostician will obtain a unique FAD number following the established standard operating procedures or SOP. In preparation to visit a suspected premises, the diagnostician gathers all the supplies and equipment needed for the investigation, such as a clean vehicle, personal protective equipment or PPE, appropriate disinfectants, paperwork such as quarantine forms, lab submission forms, and epi-questionnaires, a properly stocked sampling kit, necessary animal examination equipment, sample shipping kits. During an outbreak response, the FAD investigation process is carried out by a diagnostic team dispatched by the Incident Management Team, often referred to as the IMT. The total number of species of animals to sample on the premises are determined according to the SOP, and sampling of recently dead and symptomatic animals is prioritized. Duplicate samples are collected and simultaneously sent to both the National Veterinary Services Laboratory and the nearest lab of National Animal Health Laboratory Network. Depending on geographic location, preliminary lab results from a nearby National Animal Health Laboratory Network lab may be received first and would enable the state and federal animal officials to execute FAD response activities as soon as possible. Positive disease status may only be confirmed by National Veterinary Services Laboratory results. When the diagnostician arrives at a suspected premises, biosecurity measures must be followed to avoid spreading disease from one premises to another premises. The diagnostician takes these critical biosecurity steps: parking the vehicle in a clean area, away from the animals, preferably outside the perimeter when possible; donning PPE, including wearing disposable boot covers; gathering pertinent paperwork and supplies before exiting the vehicle; sealing their mobile phone inside a clear plastic storage bag if bringing it into the animal area to take photos of lesions or to use for communication. During an active disease outbreak or a highly suspect disease threat, the diagnostician establishes a clean, dirty line before approaching the premises. Each diagnostic team member crossing the clean, dirty line is required to don full PPE and adhere to strict biosecurity measures, following all established protocols, including any requirements from the premises management. Without crossing the clean, dirty line, the diagnostician establishes contact with the animal owner and verifies the relevant information. The diagnostician also collects and records GPS coordinates on the paperwork. After evaluating the risk, the diagnostician may issue a quarantine notice and, using verified animal owner information, ask the owner to sign it. The diagnostician completes the epidemiological investigation form and the lab submission form. Additional forms may be required during the diagnostic sampling according to the established SOP. The diagnostic team member or members who collected the samples will pass the samples to the clean side using strict biosecurity measures, keeping samples at appropriate temperatures for laboratory submission. Once everything is passed to the clean side, the diagnostician and/or team members should doff or remove PPE as described in the biosecurity SOP. The diagnostician and other team members should consider all types of biosecurity measures, individual, premises, and movement, by sanitizing their hands and disinfecting their footwear, eyewear, and equipment before re-entering the cleaned vehicle to prevent the possibility of carrying the virus off the premises. It is recommended to spray the tyres and wheel wells of the vehicle with disinfectant when leaving the premises. After leaving the premises, their vehicle is driven through a car wash with undercarriage wash. Upon arriving at home or the hotel, the diagnostician will shower, wash their hair, and launder field clothing as soon as possible. The diagnostician will follow established biosecurity protocols strictly. The diagnostician either transports the samples to the laboratory or packages the samples following the appropriate shipping guidelines and takes them to the shipping office to be mailed to the laboratory. During an outbreak response, the team may meet the lab courier for delivery of the samples. The diagnostician is responsible for contacting the receiving laboratories to let them know that the samples are coming. FAD investigation number, which transporter is used, the tracking numbers, classification and priority, and when they should expect the samples to arrive. If an incident management team has been established, the lab coordinator will contact the appropriate laboratory for shipping samples using proper protocols. The laboratory performs the requested test or tests on submitted samples. When the diagnostician or incident management team receives the lab test results, the disease status of the premises is determined and documented in the Emergency Management Response System, or EMRS. This information is used to plan additional response activities, as the disease status of a premises may progress throughout the investigation from suspect to presumptive to confirmed, in alignment with the relevant USDA case definition. Unless an exemption has been approved by the state and federal officials, confirmed positive results can only come from the National Veterinary Services Laboratory. Additional disease detections of an FAD will trigger response by the state animal health official and USDA veterinary services personnel. This concludes our overview of foreign animal disease investigation as an example of an emergency animal disease investigation. Early disease detection is critical to implementing strategies to control, contain, and eradicate disease as soon as possible. To learn more about what happens when we receive a positive FAD lab result, watch our next video on the life cycle of an FAD response.